22 man and shit, which is goddamn incredible, right?
Yeah.
Fucking hats off. You're still under geared. You're still needing hydro gear. You're still learning. You're still progressing, and you're progressing at a really, really, really fast rate. Well, there comes a time where everyone has to be 100% best. You have to be perfect. But we're not there. So let's try to get there, right? And if you're gonna spend time progressing something else, well, let's learn it, right? And if you're gonna learn it, you don't fucking start with some bullshit, stupid fucking strategy that ain't gonna work based on someone who's never fucking done the fight before, right? You start teaching people the fight. You use those hours to learn the fight. With like you walk in with a mindset that you're gonna kill it like that way, you're out of your fucking mind. So you just do your best to learn the fight, right? And we regressed, and we regressed, and we finally started to progress. So yeah, you think we're doing good because we're doing better, right? But doing good is starting right from the fucking beginning. You can't overgear this shit. This shit isn't big. You can't overgear this anymore. You have to fucking progress. We have 4-hour raid nights, and we're getting lapped by guilds that raid 3 hours that fucking formed before this guild ever even like warband. No expectations. No expectations about to lap the fuck out of us because they've done it before. And the people that haven't done it before are willing to listen to the people that have. That's the fucking issue. That's why I'm so fucking triggered every week. The same fucking guy that isn't being listened to in this guild is pushing other guilds right the fuck past us. Fucking triggering.
No expectations hasn't even killed Caligos.
Okay. They started this server after we entered BT. And they're already pushing somewhere. Because they focused BT and they've done this shit before and they know what it takes.
Oh yeah, they're GM.
Case in point. They're not fucking going through somewhere. Why? Because they don't have the fucking build to do it. That's my fucking point. Warband. They're getting for their fucking. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And this is the fucking long way. This is the way where we finally get to fucking Muru and the guild disbands and we reform with what core is willing to stay. Like, I've been here, I've done this. This is the fucking cancer route. Like, the ones that are ride or die are going to be here. And we're just going to have a never-ending cycle. We're going to continue to teach people these fights. And we're going to have to go back through BT. This is the fucking long way. This is how you lose people. It's a tightrope you walk when you start progressing somewhat plateau. Because people realize that this isn't easy. And that's coming from experience where the rage timers weren't cut. The hit points weren't boosted. There's a better way to do this. I'm fucking tired and triggered, so I apologize for the ear beating, but there's a better way to do this, and motherfuckers don't want to hear it, and it's aggravating.
I see. Well, just for the record, Warband killed KT in like January. They've been around a while.
Yeah, and what did they do? That's my point. Like when I said it hadn't been around, it's no expectations. Like, they're gonna lap us. They're gonna walk right the fuck past us because they're doing it right. They know what they're doing. They've been there, right? And Warband was stuck. They were at a brick fucking wall, and they got one of the biggest assets on the server with all the fucking Somo Patrol in the world, and they fucking listened to him. And what they do with Felmis, they cleared it the first fucking week. That was the point I made with Warband. They cleared Felmis the first fucking week they had an attempt. Well, they killed Brutalis. Let's look at Felmis. They put the Felmis, whatever. The first week they actually went to try to kill Felmis without just like walking in there to wipe and see it. They killed it because they fucking listened.
So other than not eating encapsulates, what are you suggesting?
Don't fucking try to kill this boss with a shit god awful setup of a terrible resto ship, a half-cocked holy paladin with
half-cocked holy paladin.
Absolutely. I've got no fucking haste.
MDs were pretty slow, by the way, tonight, as well as raid healing in general. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 20 something on the server on Brutalis, on burn healing, and that's a fight where my heals aren't getting eaten by resto goods. Granted, we do have more help on the burn heals than we should, but that's a fight where I have an open ability to heal, and I'm 20 something on the server. So that like the heal setup needs work. The entire assignment, there's a lot of things that need work. We can kill that boss, but the point is we're gonna lose people. We're gonna lose the good people we do have along the way, trying to progress shit we're not fucking ready for. Especially if you have someone that has minimal or limited experience running the show. And it's fine. It works. It almost always works this way. You get somebody that has limited experience, that has the drive to lead, and then you get a couple guys that have done it before, right? But it only works if you do it right. If everything has to be perfect. Your composition has to be perfect. Every class, you got to be damn near perfect. And not to mention short enrage timers and higher fucking hit points.
Yeah.
So it takes like replacing a couple shitty. This is why Space Cadets fell apart. This is what breaks guilds.
So you're saying
because you have to start you get to the point where min-maxing is no longer gear related. It's mechanic related. It's overall fundamental related, like my numpound bindings, like Canner's lack of proper frames and ability to manage mana, like an arcane mage that's eating innervates on a fight where your fucking healers are struggling for multiple reasons. There's a lot of things that can be fixed. I'm not saying I have the answers. All I know is you gotta iron them out and do it right and tread fucking lightly, or you're gonna start losing core members. Because
when was Gunrelenting eating innervates?
Every fucking Illidan pool.
Well, yeah, it's because M tells him to do it because he has an innervate. He's not going to use it.
And we wipe. And we lose progression time. Like, you have to fucking take advantage of every fucking bit of progression you get. We get 4 fucking hours. You got to take advantage of it. You fucking clear content one day in BT, all good and well, and you walk into someone's plateau. But you don't walk in there half-cocked. He was given a winning strategy and ignored it. That's the fucking point I'm making. That's where I'm getting at. You got to be perfect, or you're gonna start losing people. We're gonna once we get past Felmist and start the gauntlet and struggle at that for a couple weeks and start to figure it out, and then get looking at twins and start to get downing twins. There's going to be 2 months past, right? And if we down twins within 2 months, we're doing really well. Once we get to Muru, it's a revolving door of fuck this shit, I'm out. Quotation, real life issues, or they're just people are fucking done. They get done with it. Like, you can be Panacea and you're going to lose people because they're not ready for it. You can be Mirage, you can be a top guild. It's not because we're bad. It's just because that's fucking what Sunwell does to people. That's what this game does to people. Like, they get complacent, and then they walk into something they can't overgear and they can't cheese, and you have to learn it. And the learning process it filters people out. You're going to filter out people that aren't good enough, and you're going to start to get people that are, and you're going to lose people that are part of your core, and you're going to have to go back and regear people. So you got to take advantage. It's like a flow chart. Like, you go up and you go down. You go up and you go down. You progress and you regress. Well, we're progressing at a decent rate, but you regress. We're gonna go through regression now.
So you're saying we weren't ready for Felmis today?
No, we were absolutely ready for Felmist. We could have been progressive. We could have been through the gauntlet by now.
But we didn't have the perfect comp.
No, we used a shit strategy for the composition we had. You got to work with what you have. We gave him a winning strategy. It's fucking in raid chat. As it's being ignored, Anime's throwing a dumbass strategy out from someone who's clearly never fucking done the shit before, who's watching videos from people that have a different composition than we have, and he's trying to do it the way they're doing it. And granted, if everybody's perfect and we don't have stupid shit like idiots dying to beam because they're running into a wall, a la me, right? Like then we still progress. But now we regress because we're walking into twins, which means we're going to lose people. That's what happens. That's what happens when people get humbled by that gauntlet. You start to lose core members. So we lose one or two. We drop Canner, we got to pick somebody else up. And when you pick somebody else up, do you get somebody that's ready to go? Yeah, fucking right. So now we're regressing. We're gearing this guy through BT. And if you don't get what they need through that ID, you go back another week. 4 or 5 months from now, the guilds that haven't killed KJ probably aren't going to, because like this is a tightrope you walk with somewhat progression. You only have so long to do it before there's not the people to do it anymore. And you get the chosen few guilds that are going to stick around, that are going to consume the core, and that's why progression is important. Because when you're handling progression, you have to get to a point where you're attractive. And if you can't attract the people that are willing to stay, you regress. You get people that are from the lower tier, and you got to build them up. And that's another month past. And eventually, there's not enough left on the server, and you lose the ride or dies. That's the point I'm making with progression, why it's important. It's not that, you know, well, we need to be first, or we need to, no, it's you're racing people's will to keep doing it. This is 10 years of progression experience in a total another game. It's just how it's just how fucking progression works. It's progression experience that has nothing to do with this game, these mechanics, these bosses. I mean, keeping 70 people together is goddamn impossible, and regression kills you. When you can't handle it with 25 or 10, it's, you know, you start regressing at a rate where people look at other options. That's where this guild's headed. And it's because we're progressing at a really quick rate where we're doing good in progression, but we're getting to the point where the people that are going to progress somewhere are doing it already, and they're going to be done with doing it. Then you get the people that want to do it with alts, and it just diminishes. You get diminishing returns on people that are quality, that are able to fill your roles, and you're left with people like me, who are mediocre at best, or Canner, who have fundamental issues, or Dynamites, who have fundamental issues with the way they play the game. And you can teach them, you can improve, you can get better, but like I said, you got to be perfect to beat these bosses. Like Felmist and below are pretty easy. You can walk in there your first 3 weeks and go through them as long as you're geared and have the proper raid composition, strategy, and time, ability to do it. When you're in order to do this right, you have to still progress BT. It's damn near impossible. Like you get a guild that was ready for it, that fully cleared, was full BIS BT before someone ever came out, and it's easy because you get 2 or 3 months to walk through it. And focus somewhat only. You get all those extra hours. If we were pre somewhat BIS walking into this, we'd already be attempting Muru probably. Right? It's not because they're better than us, it's because they're ahead. They're not ahead of us because they're better. They're better because they're ahead. Progression is everything. Getting ahead. Well, we started doing BT right around the time, what, a month and a half before Summer was released, and you guys were doing it with 22 people for how long? How many weeks?
Too many.
I'm not shit talking this guild and saying that it's bad. I'm saying that we're behind and we're running out of time. Like, I'm not. Don't let me mislead you. Like, I'm. You know, and it takes proper strategy so that when you don't discourage people, you don't. You know, you see what I mean? Like, you get discouraged by this shit, and also like you start running out of materials. Like the server runs dry when you're progressing so well. The server runs dry. Shit's expensive. It's harder to do it. The right way is to stock chock full of all this shit pre-hand. Like, for example, Jin Jinx had a bank for primal lives, a bank for primal manas, a bank for primal fires, a bank for primal, like, you have to stock it and be ready for it before it happens. Like, when you walk into a progression server, you're much better off walking in with a group of people that have already done it before. But most of the people that are here because they didn't get a chance to see it when they were. So when you have someone that has seen it, you can't take them for granted because it's a race. It's a race to progress before you regress and before the server dies on a private server or on retail before the next expansion comes and you lose your shot. You got to be perfect in every aspect. And we're at the period now where we're going to regress, not because we're doing bad with somewhat progression, no, but because we started progression too fucking late. This guild was formed and put together and was doing T5 when BT was out, right? Or Hydro maybe, like give or take a couple weeks. So you're way fucking behind, and you progressed way too fast. You see what I'm saying? Like you started and progressed fast, which is great, right? But now you hit a wall, and now you regress. It's just part of it, and it's something you can't help. So you got to take advantage of the time we have now, which means listening to the people that have done it before. Now, I'm not saying I know better than anime, but I'm saying I know someone that does, and he gave us a winning strategy, man.
Talking about Jin Jing?
Yeah, he gave us the fucking winning strategy for the composition we had, and it got ignored, and now we're regressing, and it's fucking frustrating.
What did Jin Jing say that we completely ignored? I know.
Okay. He dropped a video, and he dropped a video in Raid. They got 0 views, right? As Anime was dropping a video for Yikes, and we followed the Yikes strategy, right? Well, he gave us a winning strategy for our composition. The reason Jin Jinx is playing Hukipa is because I gave it to him. And the only reason he played Huki, he never played an LA Shaman in his life. The only reason he did it is so that he could see the fights on this server, so he could compare it to his previous experience. And he put that shaman in a guild that's as similar to ours as he can find, so that he can prepare us, right? So he does all this preparation, and it gets fucking ignored. And he has the experience and the knowledge and as do I, to not bring this up and create drama, because that's what makes shit fall apart. Right? And that's the reason you were 100% correct in kicking that motherfucker right away, that Get Milk here, because his only interest is starting fucking drama. And that's the goddamn progression killer. That's the number one progression killer is drama.
Lethal's coming back, right?
Oh, hope so.
What happened?
I don't know what the fuck that was about. He saw Get Milk here join the guild, and then he left. He didn't say anything to any of us. He just posted on Discord he wasn't coming today and left.
Yeah, so no, yeah, you nipped that shit in the bud. That was a killer move. He was all in. I don't know how many people's whispers. He was blowing my whispers out. I don't even fucking know the guy. I don't, I've stand around on South Me, and you know, like fucking while I'm eating something, just listening to the conversations because sometimes it's comical, right? It's just the truth. But he doesn't fucking know me. I don't engage in those conversations on anything other than my random bank alt that's in Berserk that only the people here actually know is me, right? So he just wants to fucking stir up drama. Like that shit with he's seen Jin Jinx's stream. He's brand new here. He doesn't fucking know who that is. He sees his stream somehow, right? Watches that stream, maybe from Warband, who knows? And he said, what did he say in Guild? One of the first things he says, I'm gonna watch Jin Jinx streams because I hear he's the best person in the game. He's trying to fucking stir up drama. That's what he's doing. So that was a solid move. And drama's the goddamn progression killer. Once you start with drama, you start losing people. Drama starts with loot, gear. Like the hardest part of council is how do we not piss somebody off? That's the hardest part about council. That's why you have a council, because you need a group of well-minded people to distribute loot so that you don't fucking lose people. Like, you can loot for progression, you have to, but at the same time, like, how long is this guy going to go without getting nothing before we lose him? Like Juckers, for example, which we could afford to lose anyway, but he couldn't get in a raid, and he just for an example, like, just couldn't get in a raid and fucking didn't want to show up anymore, right?
Do you want me to tell you why he didn't get into a raid?
Because he's fucking terrible. But when you have it good, you have people that aren't terrible that unfortunately wind up in those situations. So we're fortunate enough, you know, A, not to have that problem, but unfortunate enough, B, to not have a bench that's that fucking killer.
Yeah.
So the core we do have gets to see every raid, and they show up every week, which is like Canner does everything right. He shows up every week. He knows mechanics. He's not a fucking moron, but he's got fundamental problems. He probably doesn't use raid frames. Like, I don't know. And he has issues managing mana, which can be fixed easily. But here we are, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying I've done progression before, and I know what it looks like when you're regressing. And like, it's like an hourglass that's dripping, and there gets a point where if you regress enough, that it empties, and now you're not going to progress unless the fucking, you know, pieces fall in the right place. Like, we pick up a couple guys that had alts that know what they're doing and are willing to be heard. Like, I'm not saying Anime's a bad leader. He's one of the best guys you'll find on this server about adapting and picking shit up on the fly. It just triggers me that we're regressing, not, you know what I mean? Like, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
That's frustrating.
I've been there, I know. It's frustrating as shit.
Progression experience with this game does not include the final 3 with Samuel Plateau, and there's a reason. And we're going down that road. It was a guild that was top on the server, and everybody got burnt out and quit. And they came back for BT, and they raffle stomped the fuck out of it. Everybody was pre-bis, and we walked into Samuel Plateau, and we hit a brick fucking wall at Muru. Granted, it was because he was broken and mathematically impossible, but we lost people, and we regressed. And when that starts to happen, the chances of you pulling it back and making it are slim to none. And if you do make it, it's not going to be with the same core, and it's not going to be the same. That's where Space Cadets is at right now.
Oh, Space Cadets is in the fucking graveyard. They're dead.
Well, no, they're in Swarm, and they're progressing, right? But it's not the same. Because when you build a core, and you have a core like this, it's hard to get a core like this that lasts long and stays together, right? Mirage had it, Eclipse had it, Enigma had it, but what happened? They fell apart. Mirage rebuilt. Eclipse fell apart. Rebuilt. Fell apart. Rebuilt, right? Well, this guild hasn't fell apart yet. If you count in a guild, maybe, but let's just not count that. That was
We didn't
Right.
even fall apart then. All we did was reform without West.
Exactly.
It was literally
you
all
cut the fucking
Raiders.
you cut your losses and take your core, your real core. That you know what I mean? And you right. So let's not. That's why I say let's not count. You know, so let's just start with when Get Crushed formed. Like you guys stuck together, which is why I'm here, because it takes will. It takes people that are going to stick it out. And if you the best thing you can have in a core raid group is will, the people's ability to show up every week, which is why Canner's still here. Like you can't just force somebody out, but you have to help them get better, right?
Yeah.
It just takes like number one, you got to show up every week. Like you can have 40 people in your rotation, but you're better if you have 28, 30, 32, whatever, right? Rotate this guy in for this guy in for that. Well, we've got alts, so we're flip-flopping. This guy's playing this character, this guy's playing that character, so it makes it work, and it's better because the same people have already seen it. They already understand it. You've already been through there's some shit you just have to fail. Like, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you got to make mistakes to learn, right? So these people that are making these mistakes are filling multiple roles, and it's better that way. When you have a solid core, the fewer the better, as long as they can show up every week. And as long as you have the resources like these extra priests, couple shaman here, extra holy paladin / prot there, you know, like it helps. So if someone can't show up, you're not regressing. You're not missing progression. Every little bit of progression we miss, it's working both ways. Like walls are closing in on both sides, right? You're failing to progress, and at the same time, you're getting pushed back with regression based on a server that's going to teeter off. The people that are going to progress this content and are capable of it, as far as brain capacity, previous experience, willingness to do it, ability to be able to get ready to be able to do it quick enough before the fucking server dies. Because once the server starts to die off, the prices are bad now and all that, and it's gonna hit a point where it's gonna get more realistic, and we're gonna be able to progress. But if we don't progress, we're gonna regress. And it's like I said, walls are closing on both sides. Once you start to regress, it snowballs, and you just regress more because you get people that fuck that, I ain't going back to BT, and they join another guild, or fuck that, I'm done with this game, and they're out, or tensions get high and you get rants like this that people don't want to fucking hear anymore, and they bounce out of Discord, a la Jesney, and it just escalates, right?
Fucking Peter.
Well, he's not wrong, but it's
So just for funsies, I've been watching The Kill on Hookipa again. And it's literally the exact same strategy we're doing right now.
Yeah.
People aren't getting hit with beams.
right. That's what I'm saying. That's our progression was from anime wanting to do it like this to, okay, we need to do it like this. And that's where we're at now. And well, how did we get here? Anime left and had to go to a dental appointment or whatever it was, and who Jesney was trying to, and you and Evie were trying to pull it together, right? And whose voice was heard? Jinjix, right? All you got to do is just hear it. Do you got to do it that way? No, but you can't ignore it. That triggered me. Like I know it triggered him. We didn't talk about it. Like me and him talked quite a bit because we just, I don't know, happened to just fucking, for whatever reason, wind up together at the same time or whatever. So I know who he is. He doesn't want people to know who he was on the other server. I respect that. I don't know if he robbed a bunch of guild banks. I don't know why. But he doesn't like sharing that YouTube channel with a lot of people. And he shared it with this guild. He just dropped that channel right in the fucking rage. And if you go to that channel, there's literally thousands, plural. Like plural thousands of Soma raids. It's just a fucking encyclopedia of Soma Plateau. So wipe that, pretend it doesn't exist, and just look at him. He's an encyclopedia of Soma Plateau. Wipe that, pretend it doesn't exist. War Main's different. right? Just look at Warband, which is a guild that's similar to ours in composition. And that's what he provided. He created that content for us to learn, and it got ignored, and it fucking triggered me. That's where we regressed the most since I've been in this guild. Was right there.
Yeah.
Right there, because we could have killed Feminist already. We could have been like getting 2 weeks ahead or not losing a couple weeks means a fucking ton, because drops are based off of ID, right? So you can just go through an ID and not get a couple pieces you need that make the difference. Like fucking Varrix' Zardoom and Skull Gadan. If he didn't have his Zardoom and had or Skull Gadan had something else, that very fucking well makes a difference in 1% on the boss. Why? Because he's going to be alive at the end.
Usually.
Right? And if he's not alive at the end, how fucking huge is that regression? Because he got looted the difference maker. Now, and I'm not calling you out, Varrix. I'm just using it as an example. Like how huge, because you know how huge that is. Because you brought it up tonight. It was fucking huge. It was possibly a 6% difference. Like I said, I'm not calling you out. Like, what's the difference in 2 Chainz having a Zardoom and not? Well, I mean, he had a badge weapon. So, like anime talks about the Karabor on the Holy Paladin. That Karabor has one use: burn healing. Otherwise, you want throughput or sustain. And if you don't have the throughput and sustain, then you still have the same thing you had if you had that Karabor, a big heal. And what does that Karabor give you? 120 to 220 that may or may not crit difference. What difference is that going to make? Slim to none. Will it save somebody's life? Maybe. Twice on a million casts, right? But you're going over heals with this composition. A Karabor is not what I need. It's a Dark Blessing or a Crit Mace. And right now, based on my gear composition, I gotta have that Dark Blessing. Well, we don't raid ZA. How many motherfuckers in this guild have current gear composition, best in slot upgrades for their current gear composition? Like, people just want to go to a website and look at what's best in slot when you have the best of every piece, right? Well, what's best for Varrix right now? Is it the best in slot gear? No, it's fucking tank gear for twins, right? There's shit that's best for you right now. And like the not rating ZA, I get it, and it makes sense because it triggers people. But we could have been doing that before Sunwell came out and getting ready. And what was the very first thing Jin Jinx said when he joined this Discord? Do you remember? Because I do.
No, I do not.
How often do you guys do ZA? Those were literally his first 5 words. How often do you do ZA? However he worded it. That was his first sentence. That was his first sentence. Because ZA is fucking huge. Why? Because it's the first real set of haste gear that's introduced in this expansion. And you jump on that shit. Why? Because you need throughput like water in Sunwell Plateau. Little things. There's just little things that we can't go back and change now, but it takes experience to do it right. That's why Panacea walked right the fuck through this expansion. Because they've all done it before.
They're also on the PTR.
Exactly. That's my point. They've all done it before. That's why they walked right through it. Because they've done it before. That's all it takes. Is just knowledge. Like, you can take Canner and turn him into someone who's 100% capable. He just needs knowledge. He has to go through the gauntlet of efficiency. He has to go through the gauntlet of proper UI and add-ons, right? And a lot of times, people are using too much. Like, you get people that play older games on private servers, it's because they can't run current games. So, a lot of times, less is more, right? Like, there's a lot of shit that takes resources that you don't have. So you got to limit it. And like, some people limit it by lowering their spell detail. Well, now you can't see fucking Flame Strike, right? Or now you don't see the fucking flames on the ground with Nightbane. Like, I know you guys, Varix, Willie, you guys have wiped at least one time because somebody died that really you couldn't afford to on Nightbane because they didn't have their spell detail turned up because they didn't see the fucking flames on the ground and they didn't know the fight and they didn't know they were standing in flames. It's little shit. Like, that's something is fundamentally wrong like that with Canner. He's not an idiot. He's not. But he's got a fundamental issue. Like, that's progression. You fix that. And you fucking progress. You're fucking way better. Like, you can feed him gear, but now you're just trying to overgear an issue. You can't fucking overgear this expansion. On this server. You can't fucking overgear this content. You could do it on retail, but it was just a race if you happen to overgear it because the next expansion comes out and guess what? Who the fuck's going to want to progress it now and actually do it legitimately, right? No, everybody wants to go to the next one. Well, you get the luxury of having extra time on a private server. Extra time, it's like an enrage, right? The enrage timer is when people start leaving because you don't have another expansion coming out. So instead, you get an enrage timer. It's like a soft enrage. People start leaving. So you get forgiveness. You get to overgear shit and try to push through it. Like, the guilds that are gonna kill Jaden will do it the first 3 months someone's out. After that, the ones that kill it are probably going to be also ones that have done it before on this server. And maybe the server lasts long enough for other people to get a shot, but probably not. That's why Jinx is here and not on Excalibur.
I don't know. Warmane servers usually have a pretty good history of lasting a long time after it's fully cleared because of the shop. Like, Icecrown has been fully progressed for fucking years now, and there's still a lot of fucking people over there.
Yeah, I agree. But how many of these people from this guild are going to stick around long enough to finish it? The core, Eevee, Anime, Willie, Varix, 2 Chains. We're going to take a couple hits there. Eventually, we're going to take hits there. Will it be after we kill KJ? I hope. Right? But the hits are coming. Like, people are going to get fed the fuck up.
I would never trust 2 Chains with jack shit.
Oh, damn. Fucking Michael. Jack shit.
Well, 2 Chains, like, I don't want to bad talk 2 Chains. But 2 Chains is one of those people that learned this by overgearing it. Like, that's where you hit a brick wall a lot of times. And you guys didn't really hit a wall till council. And everybody does, right? Well, Mother, because you got to get the reps to get the Shadow Resist. You guys progressed through BT quick enough to where you got to Mother and had to stop to get Shadow Resist, right? Or no?
No.
I think you only need like 100 for the rep. I think we had it by the time we got there.
Okay, well, I figured you guys walked right to Mother the first couple of weeks. So it took you a month and a half to... Okay, I got you.
No, it took us like a couple attempts to kill Mother.
Well, I mean, like
from
the time you walked into BT for the first time to the time you had the Shadow Resist to get Mother.
Yeah, it took us like a month to get past Blood Boil and Corfiend.
Yeah, that's fucking normal, right? Especially considering a lot of you hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
Probably. And we're well, I don't know about undergeared, but definitely didn't overgear it. And you were like, how long were you doing it 22, 23 man? That whole fucking month, right? Like all the way to Mother, you 22 manned it, right? 23 manned it?
It wasn't really then. It was around when we first got to council. A bunch of people all left. Like
started losing. Okay. So you progressed 25 and started losing people, and then we're just clearing the other content that you'd already done with the short-handed. I got you.
Yeah, we didn't at that point in time. We weren't rotating quite as many people as we did for BT now, because we didn't didn't recruit as big of a bench as we do now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So we'd have a couple people call out for a day, and then, you know, we didn't have anybody to replace them because we didn't have a big bench.
Holy
Yeah, and that's
shit.
part of the hourglass too. Is it's impossible to keep a good bench. It's just not possible unless it's a core group of guys that came from this game and then moved on to another game, and would you get a core community. Like I've still got 2 core communities I'm a part of. Well, 3 really. One is very distant, and I haven't seen them in a long time. But you got North American Militia, which has been a solid core group, like you, Willie, to like your little core that you got, and then you extend the core. Now you got your Warmane core. Like there's got to be a couple of you guys that know each other before Warmane, and then you group up with another couple of guys that knew each other before Warmane from something else, and then it just grows, right? Well, you got North American Militia, 228 IBR, which was by far the most mature, competitive, and successful
Did you just call me out?
competitive group I was ever a part of. That we went to the
Wanna
finals in
fight?
Vancouver for the game we played and got fucking utterly destroyed by the Europeans. But we also had our Oceanic group
Don't you hate when that happens?
there too. So it was our group from the Oceanic, and then our NA group, and then the European group that all competed for the world champion. And that core is still together, and they're still fucking ticking. And it's just one of those things that it doesn't really matter what you do, you're gonna regress and have to build back.
Rip.
That's the standpoint I come from. Not that I know better, I know these fights, or I know how to do this. I don't. That's not what I'm trying to say. I know what happens as far as progression goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my rant.